Welcome back to the garden. I'm feeling much better. It's the 11th of January, and today we're going to discuss lunar cycles because this issue came up in a couple people I spoke with over the weekend. People don't know how to use lunar cycles, and it's one of those things that's an outgrowth of astrology. But you can do a lunar cycle without maps and graphs and funny lines and trines and squares and oppositions and all that stuff. The important thing to know about the lunar cycle is the two main ones are the new moon, which is what is going to happen tomorrow, which is why I'm going to talk about this. And in the new moon, if you think about the new moon, it's dark, it's up in the sky. It's kind of like a seed in the ground. And it's a point in the month where we have a chance to energetically tie to that seed. And then as the moon grows and grows and grows, the intentions and the lists and the things we request from the universe will have a chance to grow with it. So we're going to discuss the new moon part of Lunation Cycle. I'll do another show on the full moon part and what to do with all that stuff. But what should be on my list? How do I write a list? What list? List, who cares? Christmas list? New Year's wish list? What you do on a new moon cycle list is it's the things you want to come towards you. It's to create an intention to have good things coming towards you. And it can be anything. It can be a new job, a new couch. But the more specific you can be about what it is that you see you want to have coming in your future, the better. So if you're thinking about a new job, you can say, I see myself sitting at this desk. It's in a corner office. I'm getting these reports or whatever. I mean, this is not this is pre-COVID wish list. You can write, one time I did an intentions list and my daughter and I were going to go house hunting, which I hate to do. I hate to go move, but I knew we had to move. We had to move by a certain date in January. So in October, I sat down with my daughter and I said, okay, what do we want? If we find a place, what would be our ideal wish list? And we wanted a place that at least was 2 bedrooms, 2 baths, so they were each in their own suites. Not that I don't love my daughter, but she don't want to share a bathroom with me, and I don't want to share one with her if I get away with it. We wanted it to have a place for our washer and dryer. We wanted it to have covered parking close to the door, because where we were living was uncovered parking. We were in a high rise and we were parking in this vast stadium-like parking lot. You had to walk forever to get in the building. Things you learn when you live places. I wanted a space in the place big enough for me to have my own little home office. And she wanted a fireplace, so we put a fireplace on there, and I wanted a patio or a place where I could grow some plants. So we put a patio or a place to grow plants. And then we put a price on it, and trust me, the price we put on this, there are not apartments thick on the ground in Dallas like that. So a week goes by, and I go out apartment hunting, and what happened is it was a rainy Monday, and rainy, cold Mondays in Texas in the fall are rainy, cold Mondays. Not as cold as like Yankee Land, but they're miserable. And so I went to the first, my daughter kind of gathered some names in the spaces. Oh, we wanted it to be 5.6 miles from her work. And the reason we figured that out is she wanted to have to drive no more than this on city streets. And so we figured out if you go the average speed limit, how far it could be and meet her clock. So that was on the list too. And so I go out and I go to the first place, and they show me the unit that would have met all of our criteria, but it was in the second floor. And my knees still don't like steps all that much. And if it was a bad knee day, I was going to be trapped in that apartment. And I was like, I don't think so. And I said, do you have any on the ground floor? And I said, I have till January. And they said, well, we don't get them very often on the ground floor. So I said, okay. But I took their little application and went tootling off. The second place I went to, they didn't even have anybody in the office that could show you anything. They didn't have anybody in the office. So the third place I went to, and now it was really raining, and I thought, oh crap, I wanted to turn around. And something said, nope, move forward. So I went to the third place, walked in, and met a charming woman named Pam, and I told her kind of what I was looking for, and she said, oh, we have townhomes on the edge of the apartment complex, and they're a 2.5 bath with a den. And she said, it'd be wonderful because it has everything you put, fireplace and all these things. But she said, most people who've lived in them have lived in them for several years, and they rarely come up. And I don't know of anything that would be coming up soon. And I said, well, show me your 2 bedrooms. And so I looked at her, and she couldn't show me a 2-bedroom that day because they were so full, and they were just turning a couple units. And she said, I'll call you as soon as I have something to show you. So she called a week later, and my daughter and I went down there on her lunch break from the university, and we looked at it. And we looked at a 2-bedroom, and I said, oh, well, yeah, this would be fine. It fits all the basic criteria of what we're looking for. And Pam said, but no, you don't understand. She said, we just had a couple who've lived here 10.5 years who know they're going to have to move in January. So when they move the very end of December, that'll give us the time to turn the unit, and you can move in on your move-in date in January. And she said, I can't show you the unit today because it's occupied. But she gave me the floor plan. My daughter and I looked at it. We looked at the price. We looked at the deposit because we're coming in so early. We said, done. And that was my whole house hunting for my last grand adventure on house hunting. So I'm telling you, when you write a list of intentions, you can write it as specifically as you want and see what happens, because that's my one really miracle one. Now, what other things you can intend for your friends, your family, if you want to see them happier? Write the statement. I'm seeing them be happy. I'm seeing them be contented. I'm seeing them living a better life. I'm helping my child move forward to a better job. You know, I see them moving forward, because the intentions lists are best if they're totally based on you. But I know sometimes parents, we want to see things change for our kids, which will certainly improve our life if that's true. So, new moon is a time to start a new lunar cycle. And once you get into studying lunations, first of all, it's something you can do twice a month. That's not onerous. And well, before the full moon, I'll tell you what to do. Now, the moon's like a seed. It's hidden. It makes your wishes and intentions to start over. If you know your astrologic chart, this new moon is in Capricorn. And if you can look at your chart, and if you don't have a chart, it's okay. Ignore this part. But there's signs that your planets are in, and signs that are going on your chart. There's also houses on your chart, and each of those houses has a different meaning, and it means a different sort of flow in your life. And in this case, this new moon happens to be falling in my 3rd house, which is communications, dealing with peers, and my local community, which you're my local community. So yes, I'm writing some grand intentions for us. And you can go get your chart made. There's several different sites. There are little apps you can get on your phone if you want to look at those. There's Astro Matrix, which is really pretty good. I've used them. There's a new one called CoStar, CoStar, and it doesn't burden you with charts and graphs and squares and all that stuff. It just says these planets are in this house, or this is the house. In order to figure out your house, you need to know what time you were born. That's basically kind of what you need to do. But don't let that stop you from writing your list. If you don't know which house it's affecting, just write the things that are the things you want to see come true. There's a couple of astrologers right now who have things up on YouTube, and I'm going to note their names below. One is Steve Judd, and the other is Pam Gregory. And Steve Judd has been reading charts for a long time, all the way back to when we did them on pen and paper, like the way I learned. Pam Gregory's the same way. They're both English. Pam lives in Canada. She's an expat in Canada. And when you meet, and what I like about their shows is they don't bore you with charts. They don't throw stuff up that's going to confuse you. They just talk about the elements of what's going on right now. And Steve Judd in particular is rather quick, and he goes on one topic. And the one he put up today is on the aspects that are going on around us right now, and the new moon. And tomorrow, which is actually the day of the new moon in the US, the new moon will be tomorrow night at 11 p.m. Central Standard Time where I am. So what you want to do with your intentions list is get it written up, look it through, and then at the bottom I always write this or something better. And because I tend to limit what I think the universe can give me, and sometimes it gives me much more than I wanted, and I'm grateful for that. But it's always nice to remind them I may not have covered everything I really need. And put this or something better, and then sign your name. And then you don't have to stick it up on a wall. You don't have to look at it every day. As a matter of fact, it's better if you don't, if you just put the intentions out there and then let them hold. I always tell people, fold it up, stick it in the bottom of your underwear drawer, and go back and look at it in 3 or 4 months and see what's happened. And that will start to prove to you about how lunations work. If you're really interested in the topic of lunations, and that's working with the full moon, the new moon, and they also have people who work with the quarter moons, but that's too much trouble for me. There's a woman, and I put her name below too because it's kind of an odd name. It's Yasmin Boland. She's an Australian who's written books on Moonology and how to work with the moon. So if you want to get a little more in depth than what I'm doing right now, you can go to Yasmin's site. She has a website and read more about it. And like I said, for interpretations of what's happening around us right now, Stephen Judd and Pam Gregory. And like I said, you can get those little apps on your phone and you can draw yourself up a little chart. And, you know, astrology makes a lot more sense. And this is part of having a human ego, when I can relate it to what I know and what I need and what I've seen. I know that when Saturn was square my natal sun, it was the day that my husband died, my second husband died. And not all planetary movements mean death and destruction. Sometimes they mean, yeah, go now. This is a happy time. The conjunction that happened when they said we went into the age of Aquarius, of Jupiter and Saturn, was on top of my natal Jupiter, which means where Jupiter was in the sky on the day I was born. And that's supposed to be like a big good luck, woohoo. So, and things have been going really well for me, except for getting a crummy chest cold, but everything else is just absolutely wonderful. So don't not look at astrology because you think it's too confusing. Get your own little chart, carry it around in your phone, watch astrologers every once in a while, see what they're doing, and see what they're talking about, and relate it to your own life and see if it works. Right now, some of the scarier things that are happening out in the world are happening. And if you understand the overall astrology of the US's chart, you understand why. And you also know that this is the darkness before the dawn. It's the light at the end of the tunnel. Things are really going to change in a proper way. And maybe knowing that astrology can kind of bolster your sense of what's going on, because that's what astrology really is about. This particular new moon, I said it's very powerful. If you were watching astrology a year ago on the 12th of January at 23 degrees of Capricorn, Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto conjuncted. And one of the ways astrologers prove what they think's going, what their suppositions are, is they will go and they will look back in history and see when these planets were together or when this conjunction happened, what other things have happened, what other patterns have happened in the world. And the last time, as I understand it, that Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto were conjunct in that part of Capricorn was the day that Martin Luther put his treatises up on the cathedral at Wittenberg, which that's more or less what we historically believe began the Reformation. Now, when he put them up there, people in that town in Germany were probably upset, but nobody else knew quite what was going on. But when they could look back and say, oh, we know this date, we know this placement, and it brought down, and they knew that when those planets were meeting last January, all the astrologers I was following were saying, we're not sure what's going to change, but we know it's going to be huge. And because Pluto plows up, looks like a little plow. It plows up and rearranges everything. Saturn's a taskmaster, and Jupiter's the giver of great things. So it meant put those three images together, kind of like you're putting three tarot cards together, and you go, whoa. And I had friends saying to me, you're talking about this date in January. And I said, yeah. And they said, well, what's going to happen? And I said, I have no idea, but I know just from what little I know about the planets, that's not a configuration that we should just say, oh, that just happened. The moon's going to be in that exact place tomorrow night. That's what makes it such a powerful new moon. In other words, that new moon is a place to plant the intentions about all the things you've learned or wanted to learn or want to change that came out of 2020 for yourself and for people you love around you, if that's who you choose to put on your list. Anyway, I hope that makes it a little plainer. I got this from someone who sent me a question, so please comment and question below, and share, like my videos, please, please. Share it with people you think might be of like mind so that my subscriber list can grow. Thank you to all of those who've shown up to subscribe. And I really, really do appreciate it, and appreciate you being patient with me while I recovered from my personal version of the crud. And I will see you tomorrow. And tomorrow we're going to go into another question that I got from a viewer who wanted to know about how to relate crystals to their astrologic signs. So this is going to be this will be crystals and astrology. Have a great day. Thank you for